physically possible. And for the first time for a very long time, it went down to the very last race of the year. Because let's bear in mind that Chris Bradbury won the Bristol Track Championship in July last year. Something he had even forgotten. I actually spoke to him on the phone earlier this week, and he had forgotten that. But yes, he won it in July. So that's the difference between 2014 and 2015. This time it went right down to the very last race of the year between Chris McCullough and Neil Hooper. And Neil Hooper just got there.
And I tell you something, if we didn't have that pile up at the top bend, where Chris McCullough and Neil Hooper went in both together, with a couple of blue tops up the top bend in the first heat, we could have had an even closer race on that one, and may have had a bit more of a grandstand.
Chris McCullough pulled off in that first heat. If he had have got a top 10 in that first heat, he probably doesn't want to hear this, but that probably did cost him the track championship, because I think there was only 4 or 5 points in the end.
In the end, yeah, because I was doing maths. You let me do the maths.
Yes,
there.
Even though your maths were on a full ORCI ban, we let you off. So yes, you were helping us out. So yeah.
Yes, there we go. And it was. I wouldn't say it was a classic. I don't think we've had a very. I'm struggling to think of a decent race we've had at Bristol this year. It's all been very much of a muchness, and perhaps I'm being a bit disparaging, but I just think it's just been not a classic season, shall we say, for Bristol. And it's nothing to do with marshalling or anything like that, because they're aware of those problems as well, but. It's just been, I think, if a bit follow the leader-ish, you know what I mean?
It could be that's just the nature of the track now and the cars. I don't know. Some of the racing's been, ironically, the best racing has been when it's been raining there this year. Probably the best racing was Pink Ribbon Day, which was a thoroughly wet, miserable summer's afternoon. But the racing that day, if I recall, was quite good.
Tip-top, absolutely tip-top that day, and it always is in that meeting. Right, moving then to the small matter of looking forward here to my neck of the woods. I can hear the strains of Brian Goldsworthy now, and I only have to open the window because he's just telling his wife he wants two eggs for tea, and he lives 40 miles down the road. It's a day. Track championship. Now, this could go one of three ways as well. Liam Rowe currently leads it with a 18-point lead over. 14-point lead over Dale Moon in second. Now, these names, obviously not big names nationally, but these guys are good at that. But Neil Hooper is another 4 points behind Dale. So it's all to play for, I would say.
It is all to play for. Again, you have to bear in mind Neil Hooper came from behind to win the Bristol Track Championship.
And, of course, Neil...
And if I was a betting man, I would put my money on Neil.
Yeah, it all depends. I mean, because at the moment, obviously, I would discount a little bit Dale, because unfortunately he's got to start with Neil. There's no two ways about it. MOC Neil's obviously superstar grade at the back, but that 3 car lengths can soon be eroded very quickly, especially if Dale's at the back of the Reds. So I would say that it would need some kind of mechanical situation for both.
Whilst I would say I would put my money on Neil, of course we mustn't underestimate how quick Liam Rowe is on his home track.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, I've watched Liam and his brother Ross round that track. They're two guys that just know that track inside out. Whether it's something to be in mind whether it's they're in tune with the Red Roof Air, because they are the most local drivers to the track. Liam now residing in Luggan, and Ross still out there in Radnor, which is, I say, Luggan's a village and Radnor's a hamlet on the outskirts of Red Roof. They both know the track very well, and like I say, how many tracks can you take? I'm only going to take 10 minutes to get to the track. That's the great thing about it. And they do know the tracks well. And Ross, previous track champion, and we have had some classic conclusions to track championships there Ross and Tim Farrell, and who can ever forget the one that Justin Fisher and Neil Hooper, best buddies off the track, but when it came to a track championship, Justin he worked out how many points to get ahead of Neil, and he just thought the easiest way is just to get rid of Neil and put him in a wall, and took the track championship. That was a couple of years back.
And of course, that day is the old Cycle Club trophy as well, which has the lap leader bonus. Now, talking to track champions, it's easy to look at the Taunton Track Championship and think, oh, well, Neil Hooper's got that in his pocket. But bear in mind, that's just for the track championship. For the track championship, which has the duplicate or worked out system, whereupon there's well-funded prizes from Edwards Motorsport and Elite Racing on the Taunton Track Championship, that where it's all factored in is actually a lot closer. And it looks like it's going to be between Justin Fisher and Neil Hooper for that as well. Yeah,
Neil said it to me on Sunday up at Bristol. He said that I'm going for the triple. He said I'm going to try my damnedest to sort it out, and if I don't get St. Day, then I'm damned if I'm going to get Taunton. I've got to get Taunton, and of course the Ladies' Trophy up for grabs, which is another classic trophy, which has always been. Always produced great races at the end of the season, usually wet ones, but we've had some brilliant winners of that over the years.
That's right, yes. And to be honest with you, I think the season in the Southwest will go out on a high. I think it's perhaps, I don't think I'm stepping out of line here to say that some tracks are probably going to go out season 2015 in a bit of a whimper. Would you agree or disagree with that?
It's just the way I think that's possibly the case. I mean, what's always happened with Taunton and St. Day is that they've always had big trophies on their last meetings. Trophies with history, trophies with heritage, trophies that, is a veritable who's who of stock car racing, and trophies which have produced freak results. I would love to see those meetings. I mean, this is where I think we need some kind of end of season shenanigans to sort it out and have it as because I think that's where the Formula Ones do it better. Is the shootout series?
We've spoken about this before. I just can't see that that's logistically possible in Formula 2.
But we have had it before. We did it for the Brisker 50, didn't we?
And was that really a success?
Well, I thought the meeting at Birmingham, the grand finale, was good. We do need something like that.
See, I didn't. I thought that was a dreadful meeting where the cars weren't in grades. That was dreadful. But we're talking about several years ago now.
Yeah.
You have a heat where you've got, oh, look, Nigel Green and Gordon Moody are on the second and third row. Yeah, good-o. But
The F2 show. Well, we couldn't think of anything else to call it.
So what happens when a big accident occurs?
All right, we have the cutting team kit up, please. Cutting team, the kit up. Get the car stabilised.
Stocks Radio had unrivaled access to a training day for marshals.
Red flag, red flag, red flag, red, red, red.
From safe extraction to firefighting, we went behind the scenes with Team Autospeed. Stocks Radio, behind the scenes, hitting safety head on, available to download now at Spreaker.com/Stocks Radio.
For the horrendous crash! This is Rascal P. Coltrane!
The F2 show.
Shouldn't be at the meeting. Anyway, we're going to go. We're having real good fun, and I love you, boys.
Right then, the green flag again we're racing.
This is the F2 show.
Well, that's part one of the longest thing. So we've got onto the rumour and conjecture coming up in a moment. Of course, we all know what's happening to Sir Robert. So will we see him speaking next year in Formula 2? I think, like Steve said, I don't think that's going to happen. Realistically, I don't think Steve speaking is too bothered with Formula 2. If he was, he'd have his own car and he'd have his own situation. And yes, he may well have one. He may well see what the situation brings. but I doubt we'll see him very much at all next year with his Formula One commitments growing up just another notch this year. So that is the current state of affairs with that one. Obviously, we've mentioned a few other bits and bobs. Don't forget, you can still get in touch, and we are going to be talking about some rumour, and we are going to be talking about some conjecture in a moment. If you know what we're on about, what I would recommend is that you talk to us in a moment with regard to what's happening with that. And what we're looking at a bit. So I would look at the situation where we're looking at. That's all I can see. Like I say, facebook.com/Stocks Radio, the Spreaker.com. And hello, sorry about this. What I'll do is I will put some more music and put some more music on again. Sorry about this. We are work in progress. It's new software.
Stocks Radio. Other Orville podcasts just of you going round and round and circle 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 round.
Heat where you've got
So let's return now to our little chat with Steve Linfield. After I tipped him, so that's my predictions. Other than, well, I think when I did a bit of didn't do a bit of moonlighting, but I listened into Oval Talk's debrief of the Formula 2 World Final and their preview of the Formula 1 World Final, and they were asking for their predictions. I said Rob Speak does not lose World Finals off pole position.
Well, not in Formula 1.
He's only lost one in Formula 2 off pole position. And
Taunton 2013.
Yeah, and that took a superhuman effort to literally wipe out.
and to be honest with you, getting back to that World Final in Taunton 2013, if Gordon was not in that race, Rob Speak would have won that by about half a lap, wouldn't he?
Oh, totally. And you know, it's a brave man to pass Rob Speak, a brave man to move Rob Speak, but it's a braver man to pass and get away from him. Well, we all know what happened to Skegness. You know, if that had connected, who knows what would have happened? Well, we would. I can tell you this now. What would have happened? Rob Speak would not have been Formula 1 world champion. He wouldn't have been racing. Simple as that. Because the line has to be drawn somewhere on that one, I'm afraid, and perhaps that is the perfect place to draw a line on it. Say, okay, Robert, that's enough. Okay, Gordon, that's enough. Any more of this nonsense, and we will have you both over the coals. And that's where it should be drawn now. And I'm saying this probably as one of the biggest gear-uppers of this kind of situation. But I just think, you know, it's time for it to stop.
To be fair,
and it is.
When I interviewed Gordon on the stage at Autosport International in January, what you've just said there is exactly what he said. And obviously the pair of them didn't meet until that race in August. Because Gordon then got suspended. Rob Speak was mainly doing Formula 1s, only raced Formula 2s on shale, and then obviously there's the two world qualifiers, Taunton and Skegness, which Gordon felt he didn't need to do. But what you just said is that mirrors what Gordon said when I interviewed him on the stage at the NEC. So, but like I say, I honestly think, well, as it stands at the moment, he hasn't actually used the R word as Gordon Moody, but all of his F2 kit is up for sale, and we're of the belief that he is off to pastures new in 2016.
Yes, I've heard that same rumour, and I love this kind of this period because you do get the silly season rumours, but I think there is. I think we can put some. Well, I've heard another rumour on Sunday that there's a brand new RCE ready to go, but again. He did say to me in his interview that he did with me on the grid walk, that he was shocked how much he'd been left behind in the 3 months that he was away from the sport. You know, how other people had caught up and gone past him. I mean, years ago, last season, you would have said if the World Final was at Hensford last season, Gordon Moody would have had the fastest lap, no questions asked.